host of the Gridiron.
At least the salary cap, okay, it's gone up. It's up a little bit than I think what the Giants had anticipated, right? And obviously, it's just the trajectory of the salary cap is just unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Everybody's making some money here. Yeah, fine here, free, nope. Oh, here we go. Okay. So, I mean, I know without question, the Giants have almost close to about $50 million, right, in salary cap. Another thing they certainly could do without question, if they do some guys' contracts, they could probably get another. Actually, we do a few guys' contracts, right? They can probably free up another 30 or 40 million there. But then also, I mean, unfortunately, I've just seen like maybe let go of Motor Singletary, maybe, but let Graham Gano go, save himself some money there. Let Nacho go, save himself some money there. So the Giants could really, come up with a nice bit of money in salary cap space. So, right, so we will have to wait and see. But the NFL sets salary cap at a record high $279.2 million. Giants have cash to burn this offseason in free agency thanks to a large increase in the league's annual salary cap. Now, this is one of the things that I think Shane was talking about last year. I think it was on Hard Knocks, I think, if I remember. Talking about because the salary cap. I remember I can't remember what episode it was, but he looked down on his phone and he got a text that said the salary cap was whatever, and then it had bumped itself up, and he's like, whoa, added quite a few $1 million to their salary cap total. But one of the things Shane was talking about was saying, how do you go about divvying up, right? Do you want to, try to fill in your roster, right, with some nice mid-level free agents, so maybe if you want to take whatever, what do you want to do? Say you got $30 million. What do you want to do? You want to bring in 5 guys who are worth maybe about $6 million apiece. Maybe you can fill a roster hole here, but you can bring in some good depth pieces there. But that's about what you do. Well, you want to bring in 3 guys who are worth about $10 million. Now you got, now you're up in the ante a little bit. You should be getting some better starters, better caliber starters. So maybe you're bringing in 3, nice starters, right? Maybe not a super duper wide receiver, or you're not bringing an unbelievable quarterback, but you're bringing 3 guys at about $10 million, right? Or do you want to go in for 2 guys at about $15 million a piece? Now you're bringing in 2, pretty good players, right? You plug and play players, right? But then you just used it all up on 2 players, right? And now you don't maybe have money for like depth or nothing like that. What do you want to bring in 1 superstar for like $30 million? 1 super duper edge rusher or a real good wide receiver, right? How do you want to divvy that money up? So that was one thing that Shane was talking about. How do you go about doing that, right? Or do you want to spend $20 million on one guy and then spend the other $10 million on like bring 5 guys in, maybe worth $2 million a piece or something? How do you go about doing that, right? I mean, you can bring in like one big playmaker, but the guy gets injured, you're screwed, right? So a lot of ways to go about it, right? But so the NFL salary cap is officially set at a record high $279.2 million, well beyond the $272.5 million initially projected by as they said, over the cap, but also spot track too. So actually, it's about $7 million higher than initially thought. As noted in the memo circulated to clubs a couple of weeks ago, the huge jump in the per team cap is due to the fact that the 2024 player cost and salary cap amount was reduced by $10 million per club due to a $9 million smoothing adjustment and an incremental $1 million being added to performance-based pay. But all it goes to show you, I mean, if you go back like, what would it be, like 30 years ago? 2024, the salary cap, 2024, am I talking? 1994, the salary cap was like $34.5 million. $34.5 million 30 years ago. It's just crazy. It just keeps, right? This increase is great news for the Giants. Using their initial $272.5 million figure, the Giants were projected to have about 41.4 of total cap space, of which 31.75 million is considered effective cap space. Now that this new range has been established, the Giants, per over the cap, already have 232.281 in total cap liabilities on the books. We'll have an estimated $46.9 million in cap space, even with $27.299 million of dead money, because it has to do with Daniel Jones. Given their available cap space, the Giants don't have to make any cap cuts, but that doesn't mean they won't. I mean, I would let Graham Gano go without question. With a deep defensive lineman draft class staring them in the face, the Giants could trim defensive lineman Nacho at $5 million cap hit from their roster. Nacho, who is in the final year of his contract with the Giants, would yield a $3.6 million cap savings if he is cut. I would cut him. Giants can also wait to restructure existing contracts, which is beneficial. General Manager Joe Schoen has said in the past that he's not a big fan of kicking the can down the road, which is something the Eagles do, as restructured deals always lead to more dead money in the end if the player does not reach the end of the contract. That said, the salary cap is projected to keep rising, as if projected the league goes to an 18-game regular season schedule in the next few years, and if Netflix gets in on the broadcasting rights, the cap can easily push past $300 million by then. Oh yeah, I mean, quite possibly. The cap could possibly jump to close to $300 million next season. So we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, but as I said, if they do some restructuring, I did a video. I didn't come up with these numbers. I seen there's articles and all, and the Giants want to go and restructure some contracts, and they can probably save about $40 to $45 million. But Shane does not necessarily want to do that, because once again, you're kicking the can down the road, and if and you're pushing more money down the road, and if the guy does not wind up making like a Daniel Jones, right? If he does not finish out his contract, what do you do? It's like $22 million in dead cap money from Daniel Jones because he did not reach the end of his contract. Now, it's the same thing with like John Runyon Jr. or Burns or any of these other high-priced guys that we got. You start kicking the can down the road, right? If you got Burns for 4 years and you kick a lot of money down the road, right? If he doesn't make it to year 4, you have to cut him or whatever. You might have this bunch of this dead money on the books because you kick the can down the road. So that's not something that Shane likes to do. Right? As I said, that's something the Eagles do. They kick the can down the road, but Shane does not like to do that. But one thing Shane could do is cut a few players. Said between Motor Singletary, Nacho, and Graham Gano, there would be probably pretty darn close to about $10 million that the Giants could save if they were to let those three guys go. Now, Nacho to me has been, once again, you're not paying a guy $15 million a season. Right. But, has he been that much of a difference maker? Could you get somebody in there for a lot cheaper? You could probably draft somebody, right, who could take his place, right? Maybe in the second round. It's supposed to be a deep class of defensive tackles. So if you don't grab one early, right, in the first round, maybe you grab, because you figure now we're not trading for Stafford, right? We're going to have all of our draft picks, you figure, unless for some reason we trade up to number one in the draft, right? But in the first or second round, we can certainly draft a tackle, right? A good defensive tackle who can put next to Sexy, right? Have those two guys, let Nacho go, save what, by whatever it was, like about $3 million. Graham Gano has been getting injured the past couple of seasons. Let him go. Save a couple, probably $3 or $4 million, I think it is. If we're going to let Motor Singletary go, we'll have to wait and see. But once again, you can certainly draft a good running back in the third, fourth, and we got Tyrone Tracy last year in the fifth round, right? I'm not sure what they think about Eric Gray, but I have to wait and see. I mean, once again, and there's also always going to be, obviously, free agent running backs out there as well, too. So we could let Singletary go, save some money, bring a free agent in who's a lot cheaper. I'll have to wait and see. But we do know that for most part, Tracy is going to be the starter, right? So do you want to have a $5 billion backup running back on the sideline? So we'll have to wait and see. But the Giants could, certainly between restructuring some contracts and just cutting some guys, we can certainly save some money as well, too. So the Giants got some money to play with. They got some money to play with next year as well, too, in 2020, 2026. So Giants can certainly bring in, a couple nice free agents. That's for darn sure.